Hey, welcome to my channel. For this video, I'm going to be talking about author websites and give kind of some tips and advice for how to build one. Basically, this video is the video I wish I had found when I was doing research for creating my own website. This video is a compilation of all of the kind of tips and advice I found when I was researching. If you haven't already checked it out, CaitlinYorkWrites.com is linked below, or you could just type it up in the search bar and go check out my site. A few disclaimers before kind of getting into this video is, the first one is that I am by no means a web expert, like at all. So I don't have any like web design advice per se, nor do I think that the website I built is perfect. I like it right for now, it works for me, and I really like it right now, but I'm not saying it's perfect and that you need to do exactly what I did and blah 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 blah. The second thing is you probably should just do your own research as well. Even though this video, I want it to help you out and to kind of be a one-stop shop, you probably should be doing your own research as well, because it's always good to get information from multiple sources, because some sources might say something that works for you better than what I'm going to tell you. But yeah, let's just get right into the tips, advice. These are the questions I had asked myself when I was starting to think about creating my author website. And the first one was, how am I going to create my author website? I am not techie at all, and I don't want to pay money for someone else to do it. So how am I going to do this? I asked my techie web savvy friend for recommendations, and he recommended Wix, which is what I ended up using because of the recommendation. But there are a number of website building websites out there, and I recommend that you do your own research and ask for your own recommendations and kind of, put those all together and come to a decision over which website builder will work best for you. I'm actually quite happy with Wix. It was relatively easy to figure out, and they were reasonably priced for the hosting and domain services. So that's why I went with them on top of having it recommended to me by my web savvy friend. Once I figured out how I was going to create my website, the next question I asked myself was, or asked in general, was what does my website need? So the number one thing your author website should have is an about section about you, so a bio and at least one picture of you, because readers of your books will want to know a little bit about you, and they want to know, kind of like put a face to the name, and they just like that. When they're a fan of you, they like to kind of know who you are and what you look like. So that is very, very important to have on your website. The next thing is newsletter sign up, mailing list. This isn't a necessity, but every source I found was like, this is quite an important thing to have, because email marketing is a very effective way of marketing your book. And I used MailChimp for my mail newsletter service. There's others out there, like the website host builder. Do your research and find which one works best for you. I chose MailChimp mainly because it's free up to 2,000 subscribers, so that was really appealing to me, and it is quite relatively easy to figure out. I did experience some bumps, but I think that was just me, just because I'm not tech savvy at all. And a third thing you should definitely have on your website is your books and information about your books, where they can be purchased, what they're about. But if you don't have a book yet, the next thing you should have is, you should at least have a blog, or you could have both. If you have books, you can have your books displayed and then a blog. But if you don't have books yet, it's very important to have a blog, because it lets the visitors know that you are indeed a writer and that you have written something. So blogs is like, you've written something, so oh yes, they are a writer. Whereas like, if you don't really have anything to show, people are gonna be like, well, is this person really a writer? And so that's why in my research, having a blog on your website was very recommended, and just as an author, it's always recommended to have a blog. I personally, I break this rule. I had a blog a long time ago, but I just, I liked it at first, and then I just kind of kind of became a chore and I just didn't like it, and I much prefer vlogging rather than writing a post and posting, and I much prefer to just film a video, edit it, and post it. So that is why I actually have a vlog. And so you have on my website, you can access my vlog. It's a link to my YouTube channel, and then there they can see all my videos from there. Whereas if you don't have a vlog, you should have a blog. Really important thing to have on your website are your social media links. You want your people visiting your website to go follow you on your various social media channels. So it's very important to have those links very accessible and like noticeable, so people can just be like, oh, Twitter, I have Twitter, and just go follow you on Twitter. Now that you know what you need to have on your website, the next question, and this one really stumped me, was how should it be styled? How should I style my website? I had no idea. So I would recommend creeping other people's websites, because that is what I did. I kind of got an idea for how they did things and whatnot, and so go creep other authors' websites, but then don't copy them. Just kind of get an idea what they do, but make sure you do not copy, because that's not cool. Visitors to your website should know right away that you are a writer, that they have visited an author's website. So you need to, one of the recommendations was just having the cover of your latest book on display on the home screen. If you're like me and you haven't revealed your cover yet, or you don't have a cover yet, or your book's not about to be published, you need to get a little more creative with, indicating that you are indeed a writer and get the point across right away. So you kind of got to be a little more creative. Another pointer I came across on the internet was your website should reflect your author brand. I'm not going to get into tips on author brand because I'm a newbie to this topic. I'm trying to figure out my own author brand, and I don't know if I'm doing it right. I'm a newbie, but you need to try and figure out your own author brand yourself and kind of reflect that in your website. For me, I want people to know that I am a fantasy writer, because that is the genre I will probably always write in, and I just want people to know that as soon as they visit my website. So that is why if you go check out my website, there's kind of a different world, travel to different world theme. It's because that's what my books do. They're not set in this world, they're set in other worlds, and the idea is readers are transported to a different world, because that's what happens when you read books. So that's what I played with for my theme of my website. And then also another tip I found was pick a theme that kind of is representative of your current book that you're about to release. So a choice for Essence is mainly set out in outdoor settings, and there's 1,000 nature references throughout. That's why I picked outdoorsy images for my website. This final tip for style is simple is best. So don't use 100 different fonts. In every website tip building tutorial I watched, that was one of the points, was stick to one font, because it affects the loading of your website. And if your website doesn't load very fast, it won't come up. Google will have it down here instead of being one of the top searches, I guess. So pick one font and then just stick with that, or one or two fonts and then just stick with that. And then finally, for general tips for when building your author website is give yourself plenty of time to figure things out, especially if you're like me and not at all web savvy. I think I was working on my website for at least a month. Just gave myself that time to kind of figure things out. Another thing is Wix, for example, you pick a template and then you build your website off of a template. And I think a good thing to keep in mind is to remember that you're not locked into the first template you picked. I picked the first template I picked. I ended up just was working with it, and it just didn't like it, so I ended up picking a completely different template for the final product of my website. So yeah, you're not locked in onto the very first template you pick. And then finally, the last thing is, if you're going to have an author website, make sure you're updating it regularly. People can kind of tell when the website hasn't been updated. and then they're kind of like, oh, well, I don't know if I really want to check out this person. So just make sure you're, as much as possible, keeping your website up to date. And that is all I have for you today on what tips for building an author website. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please give it a like and you subscribe to my channel. I usually post videos on Mondays. And then if you want to connect with me, I am on social media at Caitlin New York Writes. And you can also check out my website at CaitlinNewYorkWrites.com and sign up for my newsletter. But until next time, thanks for watching.